shots in the head, according to what they say. But actually, a lot of pictures have been shown in the Egyptian television, and of course the Republican Guard and the army provided these pictures, which shown the Muslim Brotherhood are shooting at the Republican Guard, while the other side are showing also pictures that showing the Republican Guard are trying to attack but not shooting at them.
Now, talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, they are calling people to come out and kind of launch an uprising. Is there any sign that that is going to happen?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat it? Because we have loudspeakers down there.
The Muslim Brotherhood is calling for an uprising. Is there any sign of that happening?
Actually, what has happened today made some kind of fears that this kind of violence will escalate in the coming few days. That's why they have asked the pro-Morsi people to go in the streets in an uprising against what has happened. But until now, we do not see a big signs that they are having mass people in Rab al-Adawiyya, which is in about 20 kilometers from here in East Cairo. But they are trying every now and then to show to the Western world that they have the power to get people in the street back on.
Okay, Tariq, there have been efforts to form a transitional interim government. What is the progress in that?
Sorry, didn't hear you. Again.
What is the progress? What is the progress in the efforts to form a transitional government?
Oh, yeah. The new president, transitional president, is trying hard to make it clear and to go on in the moving to the democracy back again. But actually, Al-Noor party, which is an Islamic Salafist party, has objected against Dr. Muhammad al-Barad'i, the Nobel Prize and one of the Salvation Front coordinator, and also they have objected and rejected the another nominated as a prime minister who was has worked before in the Egyptian government. So that's what happened during the last 2 days. But now Al-Noor party says that he has withdrawn from this process, and this would make it clear to the new president to form the new government as soon as possible. And the most likely is that Dr. al-Barad'i will be the deputy president in the common form of the new government, or the body that they are trying to move ahead. So everybody is expecting this would be settled down in 1 or 2 days.
Thank you very much. Tariq. That's Tariq Al-Shami, the Cairo bureau chief for Al-Hura television. Now, amid the cheering, there is increasingly strident criticism of the United States. VOA's Sharon Ben has more on that from Cairo.
It was the largest gathering of the week. Thousands of people, including families with their children, crowded into Tahrir Square one more time. This time, says dentist Dalia Ezeldin, the crowds are celebrating the country's second revolution, the military's ouster of President Mohamed Morsi.
I am here to encourage our army and our Egyptian and to support our revolution. It's not a coup, it's a revolution.
The military deployed troops in the streets on fears of more violence. Earlier in the day, Muslim Brotherhood supporters also took to the streets, demanding that Mr. Morsi be returned to the presidency. The military has arrested the top leadership of the Brotherhood, something Nagi Abdel Rasool welcomes.
They belong in jail. I hope you tell the world that this is a revolution. It's not a military coup. It's a revolution of a nation that has been tired for a full year, that is paying the price now. It was the biggest mistake in Egypt's history that they elected the Muslim Brotherhood to power.
And anger is growing at the apparent lack of support by U.S. President Barack Obama, who has said Washington does not back any particular Egyptian party or group.
They are supporting their interests, and their interests is with the Muslim Brotherhood, because of course there are certain agendas that has happened.
Egypt's military, which said it ousted Morsi in response to the will of the people, flew over the square to the cheers of thousands, sending a clear message to those below as well as to Morsi's supporters. But as night fell on the square, it was clear the anti-Morsi protesters were not going to give up what they say they have won. For VOA News, this is Sharon Bain in Cairo.
Now let's turn to West Africa, where the Malian army's return to the Tuareg rebel stronghold of Kidal was met with protests. Locals who support the Tuaregs scaffolded with residents who support the army as the convoy of soldiers rode into a military base. As the convoy of soldiers rode rather into the military base, soldiers from the newly formed United Nations peacekeeping mission to Mali, or MINUSMA, tried to contain the crowds. Mali's interim government wants its administration reinstated in Kidal before the July 28th presidential election. Islamic militants unleashed a violent attack in Nigeria over the weekend, and Africa's 54's Ndimiaki Makalieli joins us now with the details. Ndimi?
Well, thank you, Vincent. The governor of Nigeria's Yobe state has ordered all schools to shut down until September following the killing of at least 30 people by suspected Islamist gunmen. They raided the school in the village of Mabudo early Saturday, killing at least 29 students and a teacher. Survivors said the attackers set buildings on fire and then shot students as they tried to escape. The shooting is said to be the deadliest of at least 3 of the schools in northern Nigeria since May, when the military began its offensive against Boko Haram. Now joining us via Skype from Abuja, Nigeria with more details is VOA's Heather Murdoch. Hi, Heather. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you.
First, if you could just clarify for us if there's been any responsibility claimed by the suspected group, in this particular case Boko Haram, for that particular shooting at that school.
Not so far. I mean, people generally assume it's Boko Haram, but they haven't claimed responsibility.
Okay, moving on to what the governor has done. He has ordered all schools shut down until September. Why this move, and what does it indicate about their fear and concern for schools in particular?
Well, what he said was he was closing schools down because he can't secure them. And I think it speaks to a change in attacks, in tactics, in that previous school attacks by Boko Haram or suspected Boko Haram have been on empty buildings and or appeared to be religiously motivated. These particular attacks were on students while they were at school. So I think that's why the governor decided to shut down the schools. Mm-hmm. He also called for the security forces to allow people to use cell phones and sat phones again. Right now all of the communication systems are down. So he says that if the local people could use their phone systems, they might be able to help prevent future attacks by alerting authorities to suspicious characters around schools.
The shooting at this particular school, what does it indicate about how at least so much more radical this group is becoming? Shooting specifically and targeting these children, these school children. Is that something, even though they've been targeting schools before, does it deviate from their pattern in this particular case?
It does, or at least it appears to. I mean, as you know, Boko Haram, the name Boko Haram is a nickname that was given to the group, meaning Western education is a sin in the local Hausa language. So they've always been against Western education, but they haven't been known for specifically looking to target children before. So it does seem significantly different and significantly more frightening.
Tell us about what President Goodluck Jonathan has said at this point. Of course, he declared a state of emergency in 3 of the states where Boko Haram is said to be running wild. Is there a deviation, or is he proposing a different tactic? Because obviously